Welcome to my channel, friends. Imagine moving to a new city, speaking a new language, and learning every day with the excitement of making new friends and facing new challenges. In this video, I'm going to share with you a simple yet powerful story of learning English in one of the most vibrant cities in the world, London. Whether you're just starting to learn English or want to improve, this journey will give you tips, tricks, and motivation. Stick around until the end because I have a special bonus tip that will change the way you learn forever. Let's get started. Chapter 1. My first encounter with English in London. I arrive in London on a bright and sunny day, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. Everything is new: the tall buildings, the busy streets, the people speaking a language I want to learn but don't fully understand yet. I'm Ariel, and I'm here to study English. My goal is simple: to improve my English skills and become confident in speaking. But that's easier said than done, right? I board a train to my new home, looking around at the other passengers. It's not just a ride, it's a chance to experience the English language in real life. I notice two women sitting opposite me. They are talking to each other, laughing, and exchanging stories. I can't understand everything they say, but I try to catch a few words here and there. Their English sounds so fast, and I only know a few words. It's overwhelming, but I try not to feel discouraged. This is part of the journey. I gather all my courage and decide to speak. I start with simple English words, the ones I know. "Hello," I say with a smile. The women look at me. They smile back. One of them replies, "Hello? How are you?" I feel nervous but also excited. I reply, "I'm fine, thank you." We begin to talk, even though my English is far from perfect. I tell them I am new to London and that I am learning English. They seem to understand. I'm happy. I can communicate, even if it's just a few words. The women tell me they are from England, and they were at a conference. They speak slowly to help me understand, and I try my best to respond. The train ride is short, but our conversation lasts about 10 minutes. When it's time for me to get off, I say goodbye to the women. Before I leave, they give me their contact information. "If you ever come to England," one of them says, "you can visit us." I'm surprised but grateful. It's a nice gesture that shows me how welcoming people can be. This brief encounter on the train is a turning point for me. I realize that even though my English is basic, it's enough to make connections and start conversations. I'm inspired. After this meeting, I promise myself that I will work harder on my English. I will practice every day, reading, listening, speaking. Slowly but surely, I will get better. The experience teaches me something important. Real-life interactions are key to learning any language. It's not just about memorizing words from a textbook. It's about using the language in everyday situations. This encounter is just the beginning of my journey in London, and I'm more determined than ever to improve my English skills. Chapter 2. How to Learn Words. The next day at school, I'm excited for my English lesson. The teacher is a young woman who is kind and patient. She always seems to have the perfect advice for us, no matter what questions we ask. Today, One of the students raises a hand and asks a question I've been thinking about too. What is the best way to learn new words in English? The teacher smiles and says, "That's a great question. There are many ways to learn new words, but the most effective method is reading." My ears perk up. Reading? I thought learning new words meant memorizing lists and studying vocabulary cards. But the teacher continues, "When you read, you learn new words naturally. Studies show that people who read regularly learn words twice as fast as those who don't." This sounds exciting. I've always loved stories, so I'm already thinking about how reading can help me. The teacher goes on, "You don't need to memorize every new word you see. The important thing is to enjoy what you're reading and understand the general meaning of the text. If you come across a word you don't know, look it up in the dictionary. But don't stress about memorizing it. Just keep reading and let the words stick in your mind naturally." I think about my own experience on the train with the two women. I didn't know all the words, but I understood enough to have a conversation. The teacher's advice makes sense. If I keep reading, I will start to pick up new words without even trying so hard. She adds another important point. Pick books or articles that interest you. If you don't enjoy the reading material, it's much harder to stay motivated. The best way to learn is by choosing texts that you like, whether it's a novel, a magazine, or even something related to your hobbies or job. I'm already thinking about the types of books I enjoy. I love adventure stories and novels about travel. I'm going to start reading books like that in English. The teacher then suggests, try to read for at least 30 minutes every day. It doesn't have to be a long time, but if you do it every day, you will see progress. I feel motivated. Just 30 minutes a day doesn't sound too difficult, and I'm sure I can find time for that. I take her advice to heart. The next day, I head to the school library and choose a simple English book. It's an adventure story with easy language, and I can already tell I'm going to enjoy it. As I read, I come across a few words I don't understand. I take out my dictionary, look up the words, and continue reading. It's not hard, and I find myself enjoying the story more and more. I don't focus on remembering every word. I focus on understanding the story and having fun with it. As the days pass, I keep reading for at least 30 minutes every day. Slowly, I notice something amazing happening. I start to understand more and more words. At first, I had to look up a lot of words, but now I only need to check a few. The new words start to feel familiar, and I begin using them in my conversations, just like the words I've known for a long time. One day, after reading a chapter of my book, I realized that I don't need to look up as many words anymore. I'm picking them up naturally, and I feel proud of my progress. I start to realize that the key to learning new words isn't stressing about memorization or flashcards. It's about enjoying the process of reading, understanding the context, and letting the words stick with me. It feels great to see how far I've come. I remember how difficult it was at first, when every new word seemed like a challenge. But now, reading has become one of my favorite parts of learning English. I'm not just improving my vocabulary, I'm enjoying the language itself. From then on, I make it a habit to read every day. I know that by doing this, I will continue to expand my vocabulary and become more comfortable using English in my daily life. And the best part is that I don't have to memorize anything, just read, enjoy, and learn. Chapter 3: How to Learn Pronunciation. It's Wednesday, and I'm excited to go back to school. But today's lesson is different. During class, one of the students, a quiet guy from South Korea, raises his hand. He looks a bit nervous as he asks, "I know my English pronunciation isn't very good. I try, but when I speak, I feel like I don't sound like a native speaker. How can I improve my pronunciation?" The teacher nods understandingly. "That's a very common problem," she says. "Many students feel the same way. Pronunciation can be tricky, especially because we all use different muscles in our mouths when we speak." She explains that in our native language, we use certain muscles and movements to form sounds. But when we speak a new language like English, we often use different muscles, and that's why our pronunciation can sound different. I think about how I've sometimes struggled with pronouncing certain words in English, like th or v. They just don't feel natural to me. But hearing the teacher talk about this makes me feel better. I realize that pronunciation isn't something that has to be perfect right away. It's something I can work on with time and practice. The teacher continues, "But don't worry. I'm going to teach you a great technique that will help you improve your pronunciation. It's called shadowing." My curiosity is piqued, and I lean in to listen closely. Shadowing is a technique where you listen to a native speaker and immediately repeat what they say, like a shadow following them. The idea is to copy their pronunciation as closely as possible. This sounds interesting. I've never heard of this method before. The teacher adds, "When children learn their first language, they don't think about pronunciation. They simply copy what they hear from their parents or others. Shadowing helps you do the same thing with English." She then explains exactly how to do it. Find a video or audio of native speakers speaking clearly and at a normal pace. Listen to what they say, and as soon as you hear it, repeat the exact words, copying their tone and pronunciation. She demonstrates with a short sentence, repeating it right after the speaker. This will help you get the muscles in your mouth used to the sounds of English, she says. After the explanation, she plays a short video of a native English speaker saying simple sentences. We all follow along, repeating after the speaker, trying to match the exact sounds. At first it feels a little awkward, but I notice how much easier it is to say the words when I copy the speaker directly. It's like my mouth starts to move in the same way as theirs. The teacher encourages us. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. The goal is to practice the sounds, not to be perfect right away. You'll see improvement with regular practice. She suggests we spend at least 10 minutes a day shadowing. The more you do it, the better your pronunciation will get. I leave class feeling motivated. That evening, I try shadowing on my own. I find a simple English video online, and I repeat what the speaker says, just like I did in class. It feels strange at first, but after a few minutes, I start to notice something amazing. My mouth is moving more easily, and I feel more confident when I speak. The next day at school, I can already tell that my pronunciation has improved a little. I don't sound perfect yet, but I feel more comfortable saying English words. I also noticed that the sounds don't feel as strange anymore. It's as if my mouth is getting used to the new movements. I see the student from South Korea practicing shadowing too. He looks more confident as he repeats after the teacher. He tells me, "It's working for me." I feel like I'm getting better at speaking. I'm glad to see him making progress, and I'm excited to keep practicing myself. As I continue shadowing, I can feel the difference in my pronunciation. I'm no longer afraid to speak because I know I'm getting better. I practice with different videos, focusing on different sounds, and I start to recognize how native speakers change their tones and rhythms. It's amazing how much this small change, just listening and repeating, can help me with my pronunciation. Every day, I'm gaining more confidence to speak in English, and the fear of making mistakes is fading away. I realize that the key to improving pronunciation is practice. The more I listen, the better I become at mimicking the sounds of the language. Chapter 4. How to Learn Grammar. On Thursday, I go to my new job at the cafe again. It is only my third day, but I already feel better. I can make coffee and tea. I can clean the tables. I can also speak a little with the customers. Sometimes I make mistakes when I speak, but most people understand me. Today, one man asks me, "Have you been working here long?" I want to answer him, but I stop. I don't understand the question completely. I know the words, but the grammar feels strange. Have you been... I've heard this before, but I don't know how to use it. I smile and say, "Sorry, my English is not perfect yet." The man laughs and says, "No problem." He is very friendly. But I keep thinking about the question. I want to understand it. I want to be able to use grammar like this. The next day at school, I still think about grammar. During the lesson, one student asks a question that is perfect for me. She says, "How can I learn grammar better?" I often don't know if my sentences are correct. Our teacher smiles. "Thank you. That is a good question. Let me explain. There are two kinds of students. One group wants to speak English. The other group wants to pass English exams. Each group needs a different way to learn grammar." She looks around the class. If you want to speak English well, you do not need to study grammar very much. When you were a child, you learned your first language without grammar books. You listened, you spoke, and you learned. You can do the same with English. This makes me feel better. I don't like grammar books. I don't like learning rules. It is hard and confusing. The teacher continues, "The best way to learn grammar naturally is by reading and listening. When you read books, you see correct grammar all the time. When you listen to English, like in podcasts or videos, you also hear correct grammar. Your brain starts to understand how grammar works. You don't have to study rules. You learn grammar by using English." She gives an example. If you read every day, you will see how people use past tense, future tense, and present perfect. You will not even know the names of the tenses, but you will feel what sounds right. That is how you learn grammar naturally. Then she talks about the second group of students. If you need to pass an exam, then it is different. Exams often test grammar rules directly. You need to know names of tenses and how to form them. In this case, you need to study grammar step by step. I recommend using websites with clear grammar explanations and practice exercises. She writes a website on the board, www.grammerinlevels.com. This is a good place to start, she says. You can find short rules and simple examples. It is perfect for beginners. I understand now. I don't need to worry too much about grammar rules. I want to speak English, not pass a test. So I will read more. I will listen more. I will learn grammar the natural way. Later that day, I remember the man in the cafe. I understand now that he used the present perfect continuous tense. Have you been working here long? Now, I know what it means. He was asking if I started the job recently or a long time ago. This feels like progress. I didn't study a grammar book. I just listened and remembered the sentence. Then I heard the explanation in class, and it made sense. From that moment, I start to notice grammar everywhere. I hear people say things like, I have just finished my coffee, or she has lived in London for 5 years. I don't know the rules perfectly, but I understand the meaning. I learn through examples, not by memorizing. Every time I read or listen to English, I pay attention to how sentences are made. I look at how the words are put together. I begin to see patterns. I don't worry about making mistakes. I just keep using the language. I speak, I read, I listen, and slowly my grammar gets better. I feel it. I know when something sounds right or wrong, even if I don't know why. When you want to speak English naturally, you don't need to study all the grammar rules. You can learn grammar in context. You can read stories. You can listen to people. You can repeat what they say. Your brain will do the rest. Chapter 5. Getting over the fear of speaking English. It is Monday again. A new week starts. I go to work in the morning. I like my job now. I understand what I need to do. I can make coffee, serve food, and clean the tables. But there is one thing that is still difficult for me. I feel nervous when I have to speak English with new people. I always think, what if I say something wrong? What if they laugh? What if they don't understand me? At work, I try to speak only when I need to. I say hello and thank you. I take the orders. I smile. But I don't speak much more than that. I listen to my coworkers talk. They laugh, they tell stories, and they speak fast. I want to join the conversation, but I'm afraid. At school, our teacher talks about this. She says, many students feel scared to speak English. They think they must speak perfectly. But that is not true. You don't need to speak perfectly. You need to speak bravely. If you want to improve, you must speak, even if you make mistakes. She continues, mistakes are not bad. Mistakes help you learn. When a baby learns to walk, they fall many times, but they keep trying. It is the same with learning to speak English. If you don't speak, you don't improve. If you speak more, you learn more. These words stay in my head. That afternoon at the cafe, I decide to change something. I say to myself, I will try to speak more. Even if I make a mistake, I will not be afraid. So, when my co-worker Sarah brings coffee to the counter, I ask her, do you like working here? She looks surprised, then smiles. Yes, I like it. I like talking to people. What about you? I smile too. Yes, I like it. It is good for my English. She laughs. Your English is great. You just need more practice. That small talk gives me courage. Later, I ask another co-worker, John, about his weekend. He tells me he went to a football game. I ask more questions. I don't understand everything, but I keep listening. I try to answer and ask again. I feel good. I feel like I am part of the team now. At school, I also try to speak more. I sit next to a student from Brazil. I say, "Your English is very good." She smiles and says, "Thank you." I also learn. We all learn together. We talk before class starts. We talk about music and about our favorite food. We don't use big words. We use simple English. But we understand each other. Day by day, I speak more. I stop worrying about grammar. I stop thinking about being perfect. I focus on communication. I focus on saying what I want to say. If I make a mistake, it is okay. People still understand me. They don't laugh. In fact, they often help me. One day, a customer at the cafe says, "Your English is much better now." I feel proud. I say, "Thank you very much. I speak more now." He smiles and says, "Practice makes perfect." I agree. Speaking English is like learning to ride a bicycle. At first, it feels hard. You think you will fall. But the more you ride, the better you get. The same is true with speaking. The more you speak, the more natural it feels. I learn that most people don't care if your English is not perfect. They care if you are friendly. They care if you try. When they see that you want to talk, they help you. They wait. They listen. They make you feel welcome. So now, I speak English every day. I speak at work. I speak at school. I speak at the shop when I buy food. I speak to people at the bus stop. I speak to my classmates during breaks. I don't wait to feel ready. I just speak. If you are afraid to speak English, I understand you. I was the same. But I want to tell you something very important. Don't wait. Don't worry. Just speak. It's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn. Speak a little today. Speak a little more tomorrow. And one day, you will speak with confidence. When you want to improve your English, speak as much as you can. Chapter 6. The Power of Watching Films in English. It's a Friday evening, and after a long week of work and school, I'm feeling a bit tired. I want to relax, but also continue practicing my English. So, I decide to watch a film in English. I know that watching films is a great way to improve my listening skills, and it's also fun. At first, I pick a film that I already know. I've seen it in my own language, so I'm familiar with the story. This time, though, I watch it with English subtitles. It's easier for me to understand the words, and I can read them while listening to the actors. I pause the movie sometimes when I don't understand a word, and I quickly look it up in my dictionary. I find that I learn many new words this way, and it's not boring because I'm enjoying the story too. I watched the movie twice that night. The first time, with subtitles. The second time, without subtitles. I find it harder, but I feel good. I understand a lot of the dialogue without reading the words. The more I watch, the more I pick up. I start to notice common phrases and expressions that I hear in everyday conversations like, "What's up?" and "I'm feeling good. Thanks." These phrases are used so often in movies, and now I can understand them and use them myself. As I continue to watch more films, I start to feel more confident about my listening. I notice how different actors speak in different ways. For example, British English sounds different from American English, and Australian English has its own style too. I listen to films from all over the world, and I start to recognize different accents. This is very interesting for me. It helps me understand not only the language, but also the culture and the way people from different countries speak English. One day, I decide to watch a British film. I choose a movie that takes place in London. The actors speak in a clear but fast way, and I don't understand every word, but I can follow the story. I realize that even if I don't catch every single word, I can still understand the general meaning. I also start to hear some British slang, like cheers for thank you or mate for friend. These words are not in textbooks, but they are used every day in real life. I also begin to watch films from other countries like India and Ireland. Their English sounds different too. I listen carefully to pick up the accents. In one Indian movie, I learn how to say, "What's the matter?" and "Are you okay?" The more films I watch, the more familiar these accents and phrases become to me. It's like learning different flavors of English. Watching films also helps me learn how to speak more naturally. When I watch characters in films, I see how they use gestures, body language, and tone of voice to help explain what they mean. It's not just the words, it's how they say them. I start using some of these expressions myself. For example, I start saying, "What's up?" to my friends at school instead of always saying, "How are you?" It feels more natural and fun. Every time I watch a film, I learn something new. Sometimes I watch the same film over and over again. Each time, I understand more. Each time, I pick up more words and phrases. It's not just a way to pass the time. It's a way to learn English without feeling like I'm studying. It feels like a reward for all my hard work. I also make it a habit to watch films in English every week. I look for films that interest me, whether they are comedies, dramas, or even documentaries. The key is to pick something I enjoy so I don't get bored. It's much easier to learn when you're having fun. So, I want to encourage you to try watching films in English too. Start with something simple, like a movie you already know, and use subtitles if you need them. As you get better, try watching without them. Pick movies that interest you, and don't worry if you don't understand every word. The more you practice, the more you will understand, and the more natural your English will sound. Remember, learning English doesn't have to be boring. Watching films is a fun way to improve your language skills. It will help you with listening, vocabulary, and even understanding different cultures. So, grab some popcorn and start watching. When you want to improve your listening and vocabulary, watch English films regularly. Chapter 7. How to Practice Speaking Every Day. It is Saturday morning. I have no work and no school. I want to relax, but I also want to do something useful for my English. I remember what our teacher said last week. If you want to speak English fluently, you need to speak every day. Even if it's just a little, every day is important. So I start looking online. I search for ways to speak English more. I find something very interesting. It's called a language exchange. In a language exchange, two people help each other. One person speaks English and wants to learn my language. I speak my language and want to learn English. So we talk together and help each other learn. I find a website and make a profile. I write that I am a student in London and I want to speak English with someone. I also say that I can help them with my language. After just one day, I get a message from a girl named Lucy. She is from London and she wants to learn my language. We agree to meet online on Sunday afternoon. When Sunday comes, I feel nervous. I have never spoken with a native English speaker online like this before. But Lucy is very kind. She smiles a lot and speaks slowly. We speak for 30 minutes. First, we speak in English. Then we speak in my language. It is a lot of fun. I feel safe to make mistakes because Lucy also makes mistakes in my language. We help each other. Lucy tells me that she uses language exchange every week. She says it helped her a lot with speaking Spanish. She says, even 10 minutes of speaking a day can make a big difference. I believe her. After the call, I feel proud. I spoke English for 15 minutes without stopping. I didn't understand every word, but I could say my ideas. I could ask and answer questions. I could keep the conversation going. The next day, I tell my teacher about the language exchange. She smiles and says, "That's a great way to practice. Speaking every day helps your brain get used to thinking in English. When you use English daily, you start to speak more naturally." She also gives us more ideas. She says, if you don't have someone to talk to, you can still practice. You can speak to yourself in English, talk about your day, say what you are doing. For example, now I am brushing my teeth, or I am cooking pasta. It feels strange at first, but it really works. I try it. When I walk to work, I speak in my mind. I say, now I am walking to the cafe. The sky is blue today. I see many people. I think about my English class. This kind of self-talk helps me think in English. Slowly, I stop translating from my language. I just speak and think in English. At school, I also speak more with other students. We talk before class, during breaks, and sometimes after school. We all want to learn English. So we help each other. Some students are better than me. Some are still beginners. But we speak together. We laugh. We share stories. One student from Spain tells me he records himself speaking English. Then he listens to the recording. He says this helps him hear his mistakes and improve. I try this too. I record myself speaking about my day. When I listen, I hear some mistakes. I say some things wrong, but I also hear how much better my speaking is now compared to a few weeks ago. Every day, I try to speak a little more. At the cafe, I start small conversations with customers. I say, "How is your day?" Or, "Do you like the coffee?" Many people like to talk. They ask me where I'm from, how long I've been in London, and how I like it here. These small talks help me feel more comfortable. I am no longer afraid of speaking. I feel free. Speaking English every day helps my fluency. I don't need to think so much. Words come faster. My sentences are smoother. Even when I make mistakes, I can keep going. I learn one very important thing. You don't need to speak for hours every day. Just a few minutes is enough. The key is to be consistent. Speak every day, and you will see big changes. If you want to be fluent in English, find a way to speak every day. Join a language exchange, speak to friends, or talk to yourself. Don't be shy. Don't wait. Just speak. When you speak English every day, you get better every day. Chapter 8. Building confidence in your English skills. It is Sunday morning. I sit by the window and drink tea. I think about my journey so far. I think about my first days in London, the first time I tried to speak English, and how nervous I was. So many things have changed since then. I still make mistakes. I still don't know many words. But now, I feel different. I feel more confident. Confidence is not something that comes in one day. It grows slowly. At first, I thought I needed to speak English perfectly before I could feel good, but I was wrong. I learned that confidence comes from trying, from practice, from small successes. At the cafe, I speak to more customers now. Last week, a customer asked me, "Are you from Spain?" I said, "No, I'm from Chile. I came to London to learn English." The customer smiled and said, "Your English is good. Keep going." That small sentence made me feel strong. I smiled all day. At school, our teacher talks about confidence. She says, confidence is not about being perfect. It's about being brave. It's about speaking even when you're not sure. The more you speak, the more your confidence grows. I write this sentence in my notebook. I read it every morning before I go to school. Sometimes, I still feel doubt. Sometimes, I don't understand what someone says. Sometimes, I say something wrong and people correct me. But now I don't feel bad. I say, "Thank you," and I try again. Every mistake is a lesson. Every correction helps me grow. One day after class, I speak to a new student. She is from Turkey. She tells me that she is afraid to speak. She says, "My English is bad." I smile and say, "I said the same thing when I came here. But now I speak every day. You will too." She smiles back. I feel proud that I can help someone else. Our teacher gives us a tip. She says, keep a small notebook. Write down one thing you do in English every day. It can be a new word, a conversation, a movie you watch, or something you read. At the end of the week, read it again. You will see how much you are learning. I start doing this. At first, my notebook is simple. I write, "I spoke with a customer," or "I watched a film." But week after week, I see my progress. I feel more and more sure of myself. I also learn to smile when I speak English. A smile helps me feel relaxed. A smile shows people that I'm trying. When I speak with a smile, people listen more, and they help me more. It's a small thing, but it makes a big difference. At work, I sometimes speak with people from different countries. One day, a man from Italy says, "Your English is good. I want to learn too." We talk for a few minutes. I tell him about my school. I tell him about my favorite teacher. He says, "You inspire me." I feel very happy. Confidence is not only about language, it is also about your attitude. I learn to say, I can do this. I learn to enjoy the journey. I learn to be patient with myself. I don't say, I can't. I say, not yet. I know that every day I am getting better. When I go home each evening, I feel proud. I think about what I did in English that day. Maybe it was only a small conversation or a short message on my phone, but it is something, and all those small things build my confidence. If you are learning English, I want to tell you something important. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to know everything. You only need to keep going, keep speaking, keep listening, keep trying. Your confidence will grow with every step. When you feel low, think about your progress. Think about your first lesson. Think about how far you've come. You are doing better than you think. When you want to be confident in English, speak with courage, not with fear. Chapter 9. Learning through travel and cultural immersion. It is a beautiful Saturday morning. The sun is shining and I don't have to work. I decide to take a short trip. I want to see more of England. I want to use my English outside of London. I buy a ticket and take a train to Oxford. I have read that it is a city with many students and old buildings. I want to explore the city and practice English at the same time. On the train, I sit next to an older man. He is reading a book. I say, "Good morning." He looks up and smiles. He says, "Good morning. Are you visiting Oxford?" I say, "Yes, I study English in London. I want to see more places." He says, "That's great." Oxford is a perfect place to visit. You will love it. We talk for 10 minutes. I tell him where I am from and what I do. He tells me about his job as a teacher and about his favorite places in Oxford. He gives me some suggestions of what to see. I write them down. When I arrive in Oxford, I walk around the city. I go to a coffee shop. I order a coffee and a sandwich. The girl behind the counter says, "Where are you from?" I tell her my story. She says she also studied languages in school. She teaches me a new word, punting. She explains that punting is a small boat ride on the river. It is very popular in Oxford. She says, "You should try it." I thank her and write the new word in my notebook. Later, I walk along the river. I see people on small boats. A man is standing and using a long stick to move the boat forward. I see some people laughing. I hear many different English accents. Some speak fast. Some speak slowly. I try to understand as much as I can. Even if I don't understand everything, I enjoy listening. I feel like I am learning all the time. I also visit a museum. The woman at the entrance speaks very clearly. She says, "If you need help or have any questions, just ask me." I walk through the museum and read signs in English. I learn about history, about science, and about art. I don't know all the words, but I understand most of them. I feel proud. I am learning in a real place, not just in a classroom. In the afternoon, I sit in a small park. I listen to children playing. I hear mothers speaking with them. I learn some simple sentences. One mother says, "Be careful." Another says, "It's time to go home." These are everyday phrases, but very useful. I write them down. I know I will use them one day. At the end of the day, I take the train back to London. I feel tired, but very happy. I spoke with people, I learned new words, and I saw a new place. I feel that I didn't just study English, I lived it. This is what our teacher always says: use your English in the real world. The world is your classroom. The next day at school, I tell my class about my trip. I say, I went to Oxford. I spoke with many people. I learned the word punting. My classmates smile. One student says, I want to go too. Our teacher is happy. She says, that's the best way to learn. Travel, listen, speak, learn from life. Now I want to visit more places. I want to go to Brighton, to Cambridge, to Liverpool. Every place has something new to teach me. Every conversation is a chance to grow. I don't feel shy anymore. I feel excited to speak. I know I will make mistakes, but I also know I will learn. Language is not only about grammar or vocabulary. It is about people. It is about culture. When I talk with someone in English, I don't just practice words. I make a connection. I learn how people think, how they live, and what they love. This makes learning English special. If you want to improve your English, try to travel, even if it's just a short trip. Go to a new place, talk to people, ask questions, listen to the way they speak. Write down what you learn. You will be surprised how much English you can learn in one day of travel. When you want to improve fast, don't only sit in class, go out and live the language. Chapter 10. The Role of Listening in Language Learning. It is Monday morning. I go to the cafe for work. It is not very busy. While I clean the tables and prepare the cups, I listen. I listen to the customers. I listen to my coworkers. I don't speak much this morning, but I learn a lot. I hear one woman say, "Can I get an oat milk latte, please?" I know this sentence. I hear it every day, but today I understand it fully. I know every word. I also know how she says it. Her voice is calm. Her words are fast but clear. I think, this is good. I can understand her without thinking too much. Later, two men talk near the window. I don't look at them. I only listen. One man says, "I'll catch you later." I don't know this phrase. I write it in my notebook. Later, I ask my teacher. She says, "It means goodbye. It's informal. People use it often." I smile. I learn something new, just by listening. After work, I go to school. Our teacher talks about listening. She says, listening is one of the most important parts of language learning. When you listen often, your brain starts to understand how English works. You learn grammar and vocabulary without studying. You learn the rhythm of the language. I think about this. It is true. When I first came to London, I didn't understand people. They spoke too fast. I only understood a few words, but now I understand more and more every day. I don't always need subtitles when I watch films. I understand when people ask me questions. I don't translate in my head. I just listen and answer. The teacher gives us a small task. She says, "This week, I want you to listen to English for 15 minutes every day." It can be a podcast, a TV show, or just people around you. Don't worry if you don't understand everything. Just listen and try to understand the general meaning. I start this task. I find a podcast for English learners. I listen to it on the bus. The speaker talks slowly and clearly. I understand most of it. I learn new words. I learn how people tell stories in English. I also listen to music. I try to understand the lyrics. Sometimes I look up the words. Sometimes I just enjoy the sound. One day I sit in the park. Two girls sit on the bench next to me. They talk about their weekend. I listen quietly. They use some words I don't know, but I understand the idea. They went shopping. They saw a movie. They had fun. I smile. I think, I understand this whole conversation. I'm learning. Our teacher also says, when you listen, be active. Don't just hear the words. Try to guess the meaning. Think about the situation. Look at the person's face and body. These things help you understand more. I try to do this. When I talk to customers, I look at their faces. I see if they are happy or tired. This helps me know what to say. When I listen to people at school, I try to guess the topic. I don't worry about knowing every word. I just focus on understanding the message. I also start using a trick from class. When I hear a new word many times, I don't look it up right away. I wait. I listen to it in different places. Then I understand it better. I don't need to memorize. My brain learns it naturally. One day, my friend Lucy calls me. She is the girl from the language exchange. She says, "Your English is getting better. You understand me more now." I feel happy. She is right. Listening every day has helped me a lot. I learn that listening is like water. If you give your brain enough listening, it grows. You don't see the change every day, but after 1 month or 2 months, you will see a big difference. If you want to learn English, listen every day. Listen to people around you. Listen to English in real life. Listen with attention. Listen with interest. When you listen with your heart and your mind, the language becomes yours. Chapter 11. The importance of consistency in language learning. It is Tuesday evening. I am sitting at my desk. I have a cup of tea, my English notebook, and a small book I bought at the school library. The book is easy to read. I try to read 1 chapter every evening. This is my routine. I do it every day, even when I am tired. I do it because I know that small steps every day bring big results. When I first started learning English, I thought I needed to study for hours. I thought I had to do a lot in one day to get better. But I could not keep this plan. I was tired. I had work. I had school. I felt stress. Then my teacher gave me advice. She said, "It's better to do 15 minutes every day than 2 hours once a week. Be consistent. Make English a part of your daily life." I listened to her advice. I changed my plan. I started with small goals. I said, "Today I will read 1 short story." The next day I said, "Today I will watch 1 video in English." Another day, I will learn 5 new words. These goals were small, but I could do them, and I did them every day. After 1 week, I felt proud. I didn't miss a day. After 2 weeks, I felt stronger. I could see progress. I understood more. I remembered more. I spoke more. I thought, this is working. I am learning. Now, I have a small notebook where I write my goals. I check them every night. This habit helps me stay on track. It keeps me motivated. It shows me that I am not stopping. At school, I talk to my classmates about this. One girl from Brazil says, I used to study only on weekends, but now I try to do something every day, even just 10 minutes. A boy from Italy says, yes, I listen to English while I cook dinner. It helps. We all agree that learning a language is like building a house. You need to add one brick every day. Our teacher talks about this in class. She says, language is like a plant. If you give it water every day, it grows. If you forget to water it, it stops growing. I like this idea. I think about my English as a small plant. I need to care for it daily. I don't need to rush. I only need to keep going. Some days I feel tired. Some days I don't want to study, but I do something small. I read one page. I listen to one song. I write one sentence. Even these small actions help me stay connected to English. They keep my mind active. Consistency is also good for my confidence. When I see that I can stick to my plan, I feel good about myself. I trust myself. I believe in my progress. I don't feel lost. I don't feel behind. I feel in control. I also see how this helps me at work. I speak more with customers. I understand my coworkers better. I can answer questions without thinking too much. All of this is because I use English every day, not just in class. At the end of the week, I look at my notebook. I see what I have done each day. I feel proud. I say, yes, I am learning. Yes, I am improving. I know that it is not magic. It is practice. It is doing the small things every day. If you are learning English, I want to tell you something simple but important. Don't stop. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for motivation. Just do something small today. Then do something tomorrow. Make it a habit. Make it a part of your life. When you want to grow your English, don't do a lot in one day. Do a little every day. Chapter 12. How to stay motivated and keep learning. It is Sunday. I have no work and no school today. I sit in my room with a cup of coffee and my notebook. I open the first page. I see the goals I wrote many weeks ago. I read them slowly. One of them says, I want to speak English with confidence. Another one says, I want to understand films without subtitles. I smile. These goals felt big when I wrote them. Now I feel closer to them. Learning English is not always easy. Some days are hard. Some days I feel like I don't learn anything. But I don't stop. I keep going. I think about why I started. I remember that I wanted to speak with people. I wanted to understand songs and stories. I wanted to make friends and work in an English-speaking country. These dreams help me move forward. I learned something from my teacher. She says, motivation is not always strong, but discipline is stronger. When you don't feel motivated, just do one small thing. Read one page, write one sentence, listen to one video, then you will feel better. This advice helps me a lot. I use it when I feel lazy. I tell myself, only 5 minutes today. But after 5 minutes, I feel good. So I continue. I do more. This way, I stay on the path. I also set short goals. I say, this week, I will learn 10 new words. Or, this week, I will finish one small book. These goals are easy. I can reach them. When I do, I feel happy. I feel proud. I say to myself, good job. You are doing great. This feeling gives me more energy to keep learning. Every Sunday, I look at my progress. I ask myself, what did I do this week? I write a short answer. Sometimes I write, I spoke to 3 new people in English. Sometimes I watched 2 English films. I don't look for big success. I look for small steps. These small steps are my progress. Sometimes I celebrate. When I finish a goal, I go for a walk. I buy my favorite snack. I listen to music. I say to myself, you are doing it. You are learning a new language. That's amazing. This celebration makes the journey more fun. I also like to learn things that interest me. I read about food, travel, and history in English. I learn English, but I also learn new things about the world. This keeps my curiosity alive. I don't feel bored. I feel excited. And I talk to people. I ask questions. I share my ideas. I make friends from many countries. I learn from them. They also learn from me. This connection gives me more motivation. Now, I understand something very important. Learning English is not only about grammar or vocabulary. It is about life. It is about communication. It is about sharing stories, feelings, and dreams. When you learn a language, you are building a bridge between you and the world, a bridge between your heart and the hearts of others. So if you are learning English, I want to tell you something. Don't stop. Keep going. Some days will be hard, some days will be slow, but every day you learn something, even a little, you are moving forward. Enjoy the process. Be patient. Trust yourself. Speak when you can. Read what you like. Listen to English around you. Write about your life. And always believe in your ability to learn. English is a journey. It is not a race. You don't have to be perfect. You only have to keep going. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey of learning English in London. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up, comment below with your thoughts or questions, and don't forget to subscribe for more content just like this. Share this with a friend who's also learning English, and let's keep improving together. See you in the next video.